and you're listening to a WNBA State of Mind. Stay tuned for a short commercial break. Let me tell you to forget the rest, we the best. Bayonne Mart is the one-stop shop to get your on-the-go items. So grab a Coke, some chips, or Delta 8 Essentials located at 295 Broadway in Bayonne, or call 201-243-6118 and check the website for store hours. Bayonne Mart. Shop now. Everybody, it's the 16th episode, and let's look at Cathy Boswell out of Joliet, Illinois, who was a standout basketball player from around the Chicago area. She played with the national team representing the U.S. at the 1984 Olympics. The team won all 6 games to claim the gold medal. Recently, the former Illinois State standout has been selected among 12 finalists in consideration for inducting into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. Boz, welcome to a WNBA State of Mind where we mainly discuss basketball, but we love other sports. Today, of course, we have an all-star cast of ballers, so it's going to make for a great show. Boz, introduce yourself, fill in the blanks that I didn't give the whole story because there's a lot. And give us your best basketball story. Congratulations, fam. Hall of Fame. Oh, man.
Yeah, that last one blew my mind. I'll tell you. Hi, everybody. I'm Cathy Boswell, commonly known as Boz. You know, everybody who's known me in the basketball world knows me as Boz. What have I been doing? Filling in the blanks. Wow. I don't know if we have enough show for that, because I tell you, I was gone for a mighty long time. I was living in Europe and South America, which Goody knows, for a few years. So I've been recently stateside now. It's coming up on 6 years now. Believe me, big culture shock coming back, but here I am. I'm coaching, and I'm coaching high school. When I did come back the first time, I coached at the college level, went to my alma mater, had some experience, 2 years as an assistant coach there. And then I just went on into working with kids and underprivileged kids and immigrant kids that need help here in the United States, and I went on to do that work, which I'm currently doing right now. So,
man, I'm so happy to see your face. I don't know what to say. Speaking English, habla español, fala portugués, ¿qué más?
What language you want to do the interview? Let's go.
Let's go, baby. They don't even know that side of it. They don't have.
We had to work our butts off, so we knew that when they were talking about us, we could, say, "Hey, we know what you're saying," and then we started talking.
Listen, I couldn't be nowhere and not know what people were saying about me.
That's right.
Me, around me, and I always embraced wherever I went. I wasn't one of those people like, I'm not going to learn the language. Listen, the first thing people say to you when you come into the United States is, speak English, Yeah. Well, how dare us go to another country and not adopt the culture? And so I was always intrigued by places that I went. And I got to play in some fantastic places in Brazil, where we encountered each other, and Barcelona, China, finish up in China. So
crazy.
Last time, we spoke was in, I don't even know, and I know
it was a while ago. I think we kind of hit each other every once in a while on social media. I'm keeping up with what you've been doing. When I was overseas, I kept playing for a while, man. My body's, mad at me now. But I actually retired when I was like 50. So, but I was playing in the 3rd division and still putting up numbers, 18 a game. So look out. Of course, I'd make all of them run when I get the rebound, but But it was, because I was coaching at the same time. But
Wow.
like I said, I went from like first division and then I helped them with the league in Spain and second division, because I was, really just going into coaching after I finished. I was like 39 or something like that, 39 or 40, and I was going into coaching. And they said, come on, we're going to start this second division in Spain. We really need, some Americans or some foreigners to come in to help, build the popularity of the league. And they talked me into playing. I played 5 more years in the second division. So yeah, putting up numbers and helping the league. And, after a while, I just kind of went down to like third in recreation. And I said, okay, I gotta stop. My knees and my body's going to be like, later on in life, I'm going to be like, oh my God. And I got to that point, but now I've been, doing, I never stopped with my exercise and just trying to take care of my body now. So yeah.
Absolutely, man. See, I didn't know that. And I tell you what, anybody who like you say Spain, yeah. And it was Cathy Boswell. That's what Cathy. You say Canary Islands,
oh my
Cathy
God.
Boswell. You were playing in the most beautiful, absolutely beautiful place imaginable. Anybody ever you want to go to Spain, please go to Tenerife, go to the Canary Islands. Please go there. Absolutely gorgeous. It's worth it. It's worth the trip. And
yes, it is.
You go there, Cathy Boswell. You might have a street after you by now.
I returned there after many years, and people would still know me. I was like, "This is crazy! Come on now, crazy!" But you're right about plugging the Canary Islands. But I also have to give a plug for Mallorca too. I lived there for 5 years and played in my second division. Those are the other islands, the Balearic Islands, and let me tell you, they're absolutely stunning. Very different from the Canary Islands, but the Canary Islands, you really feel like you're out there, because you are out there. You're way out there off of the coast of Africa, way down south from Spain. And then of course Mallorca is like a plane trip from Barcelona right over to the Mallorcan Islands, but the Balearic Islands. But it was just fantastic living all those years in Spain. And I definitely, I was happy to be able to get my coaching degree and everything from Spain in Spanish. It was tough, but did some good things there. And
absolutely. I tell you, I wouldn't be surprised someday if there's a street named after you, or if that's in front of one of the gyms. Absolutely. I mean, you really set the stage, and you really, left your legacy down there. And I mean, when we met, Boz, we met in Brazil.
Yes.
We were just young, just whippersnappers, just having a great time. I went to Brazil when I was 21, 22 years old.
21, 22, because I was like 20, 4 or 5 years apart. I was like 25, 26 or something.
Yeah, we were young. And so I remember getting to Brazil and there was nobody around.
Yeah.
You were my prayers.
Yeah.
My prayers in that manifest, and I want to say thank you for that, because there was nobody there. And then I was like, Lord, there's nobody here, there's no other Americans. And then boom, we go to I think it was
up in
Boswell, or we went to
in
the Amazon.
Fortaleza. Was it Fortaleza?
We went to Fortaleza, and that's where we met, because it was a tournament there, and after that,
I was fresh off of the plane. They're like, you gotta play, and I was like, huh?
And we were inseparable, and we used to just go in the little bodegas.
Oh my God!
Like we had no fear in learning the language and going around and just, being one of the natives, and people
blending in. Eventually, you and I blended in. We actually would have people confused because we learned to speak the language and live in the culture and be amongst the people that when the time came, the people couldn't believe that we were American.
Você é brasileira?
Passports,
Você é brasileira?
Você é brasileira? No.
No, American. Then finally, I just went with the flow.
Me
because
too.
you just don't know
That way,
like who you're encountering. I was like, yeah, maybe I need to start saying yeah because I'm around a lot of strangers,
Yes, and it was a time in the 90s
encountering
where,
people that may not have great intentions. So
that's right, because
it's got the opportunity to.
The 90s were to like try and kidnap, Remember there was a big thing about that was kind of scary in Brazil, so it was good to blend in. It really was.
Yeah, and, absolutely. They did.
I remember, who was it? I think it was Edna Campbell, I think. She told me a story about being at a stoplight and two cars came up and she looked left and looked right and she took off. She said that she was in fear that something might happen because they kept looking over. And I said, well,
I don't know how she took off with that beat up station wagon. They kept popping off. Listen, Edna came in a beat up station wagon. The car was falling apart from Piracicaba to Sao Paulo. The car was falling. Edna kept getting out the car, running after the car parts, picking them up, putting them in the back seat. Yo, bananas. We had some. I promise I wouldn't trade it for anything. And that's up to the next question I want to talk about. And you're listening to a WNBA State of Mind. I got my girl Cathy Boswell on the show. Anybody who don't know her, Hall of Fame, Women Hall of Fame, standout, Chicago, Illinois State, just a bomb. Olympic gold medalist. We could go on and on. I want to shout out to my new sponsor, Bayonne Mart, who's a one-stop shop to get all your snacks and your Delta 8, because you're going to need your snacks.
That's right.
Bottom line is this. I love you. Wouldn't trade you. On to the next question. Let's talk about overseas experiences and how it defined you as a player. And then, even going further, how it defined you as a person.
Oh, nice. Good question, Goody. I think as a player, I'm not sure if you know, but I graduated early from high school, and then I was supposed to be the class of 80, and I would have been graduated college in 84. But since I graduated in 79 and I went to Illinois State, 16-year-old freshman, I graduated early. So I graduated at 20. And I had been involved in the USA select teams and all that since I was 15 or so. I was with they used to have the Junior Olympics, and I had a shout out. I have to say a shout out to Lori Bird that was on my Midwest team. We connected recently, and we talked to each other about it. And I know she's out here in San Diego, so hopefully I can reconnect with some of the people that I spent my childhood with on the team, on the USA Junior teams and things like that. So it's been a while since I was in the system and that. And so when I graduated in '83, they had I tried out for they had the World University, and they had the what's the other one that plays in South America? The
Pan Am game, Pan American team. So usually the Pan American team is the team that transfers over to the Olympic team. So I was cut from that team, and I got on the World University team. So I was still in the mix there. So in '83, I went that summer, and we got the gold in Edmonton, Canada. And afterwards, I was like, oh man, I needed to be playing somewhere, for the Olympic tryouts coming up in the summer '84. So after that tournament in Canada, some man randomly approached me, and he said, well, he was an agent, he wasn't just some man. He said, hey, would you be interested in playing in Germany? And I'm looking around, I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, we have professional league over there, and we'd like to have you come play in Cologne. And I was like, I called my mom and dad, and they're like, go, honey, you need to do something for a year. So speaking about that experience, that was the best thing I could have ever done. Here I am, I'm 20, my first experience living in Europe and in Germany. I didn't speak a lick of German, but I learned some though. I sure did, and I got my little book, on the plane, and I'm like, okay, little just common conversation, and then I ended up taking a little bit of class with that because German is kind of difficult. And but I ended up learning how to speak conversation, small conversation, things like that. And when the coach's instructions, because he definitely only spoke in German,
So when everybody was on the end line, he said, Snell. I said, oh shit, that means run fast. So I learned that, I picked that up, and I picked up conversation. But the year I spent absolutely by myself. And it was the first time I was away from home at Christmas, birthdays, christening, everything. Right. So I had to put that behind me because I had another objective. I had another goal, and I kept that focus, I kept my eye on the prize. And I said, I need to play and have this international experience. This is going to help me.
And you're listening to a WNBA State of Mind. Stay tuned for a short commercial break. And you're listening to a WNBA State of Mind, the sports podcast for women about things that matter to us and more. So come join us on your podcast platform.
Do this. So what can I bring to the table? What can I do differently? So I started working on my outside shot, my range. And during college, that helped me because I had to play as a small post. I had to guard, we didn't have that many tall people on our team. So I learned the inside game when I was in college. So I said, let me work on my outside game. So I became this small power forward, and I worked on my shots, and I did my own workout regimen in Germany just so I could get ready for the tryouts. So that whole season helped to prepare me to come back for the summer. I dropped like 15 pounds. I was quicker, and they took notice in that. They took a double take and said, "Is that Boss?" And what really turned the table for me was that year of growth, that year of experience. And even though I had an objective in my mind, I wanted to learn German. I wanted to learn the culture. I got the bug inside me too. Oh, this living in Europe, this is great, and getting to know how other people live and things like that. So when I went back that summer, I got back a little bit early before the tryouts, and when I was younger, I had a little bit of problem with asthma and things like that. So I had a friend, I have to give her a shout out, Lisa Van Goor, and she also played overseas on the other island, Las Palmas. And she let me stay with her and work out and get my lungs strong. Colorado. Ain't nobody mess with no air in Colorado with the altitude.
Can't breathe.
So, that helped me to prepare for the Olympics. So that whole sequence of being on my own and growing up and, started that whole, travel bug in my body about, wanting to live the experience overseas, for sure.
And it's definitely, character defining, playing overseas.
Yes.
You learn how to become independent. You learn so many different things about yourself.
Yes.
That you would never learn about yourself as you stay home and around friends and family and different things like that. You understand your strength and what you can endure, because there's nothing, more difficult than being away from your family during days and missing birthdays and births and weddings, and there's a lot of things to sacrifice for this game. And so I tell the kids, now don't cheat the overseas experience. A lot of people, we grind so that these leagues can form and happen in the United States, ABL, WNBA, the WBL, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears so that you can have options. But don't take that option away. Don't say, okay, I'm not going overseas. That's a great experience for you, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, a couple of players that, that I saw that were younger that got cut and didn't give up. Like a Demaya Walker who tried out. God bless her. It was just a bad time for her to be, come out of college and try to make it into the ABL or the WNBA.
Yeah.
I remember that kid trying out and getting cut.
Yeah.
And you're one of the top players in the country, and then you meet us. And then boom, you don't even make it. You got to go overseas for 2 years. That kid didn't give up. Came back, got picked up by Sacramento, and then ends up winning the championship in the WNBA. So that's the importance of playing ball overseas for anybody who's trying to cheat the cut. Go make it happen, because you need that experience. Don't think not everybody's game translates from college into the WNBA.
That's right.
You talk about some serious hooping that you got to do. You got to have the stamina, but more so, you have to have the mentality and the know-how to survive.
How to survive.
Sleeping, when you're not getting the playing time, when you're traveling, when you're on a busted flight and you don't get no sleep. Sleep in a hotel, sleep in an airport. Like, until you learn those types of things, all of that stuff adds up to be a successful basketball player.
Yes, it does.
The whole entire life. Overseas.
Yes, I absolutely agree. I do. I think it's the footprint that made us the ball players that we are today. We had to have that experience and learn and grow from it. And our overall game got better too, because they played the game differently. They played the rules were different over there. So I mean, the lane was
good. Yeah, everything, the measurements on the court, everything, how the angles, all kinds of stuff is different. And it messes with you a little bit, because you're like, oh, okay, well, what line is this and what line is that? And is that the volleyball, or was that the? Like, you get a little confused. And then the fact that, you take the ball out, there ain't no rules. You get the ball and you go. Like in the United States, everybody waiting for the referee. Nah, they ain't no waiting for the referee overseas. You sitting there waiting for the referee, they already laid the ball up. Your sound went out.
Do that, to see the world, travel, play on a team, and some players didn't have positive experiences, but many have had positive experiences. And when I came out, especially, so many things were different. Like, they only allowed one foreigner per team when I first started playing. So I felt that pressure. I said, oh my God, they got me, they got me on their team. So I got to represent, and they weren't even at that time allowing the Eastern Bloc countries to come over. Like, they weren't allowing, from, Poland and Russia, Ukraine, where, God bless them. But they weren't allowing, players like that. And, when they passed the rule to have 2 on a team, I was like, oh, good, I get a teammate, from the U.S. So, it was very select. So don't think, anybody can go overseas. At that time, you had to work your butt off to be on a team, and to get a contract and get paid and make it worth your while being over there. So there's just so much. The mentality was different, and I pride myself in those before me that had to go, look for a place to play overseas, because we didn't have the structure in the league that we had. When I was younger, I was so excited about the WBL. I had a few heroes that were playing in there, and I'm like, oh, when I get older, when I finish school, I'm gonna go to the WBL. But unfortunately, it didn't, pan out. And I really enjoyed that podcast you had with, the former athletes that participated in that league. So, I didn't really have anything to look forward to but go overseas. So, that's how it was back then.
Absolutely, and we played overseas. I played overseas 6 years before anything opened up. All of a sudden I'm getting letters, from former colleagues and former teammates, saying, hey, listen, the ABL is starting. I was playing in Brazil after that season was over. Both of us left out of Brazil that year. I think both of us left. Because I remember I got drafted to Atlanta, and then and I know you got drafted the same year, but not. Yeah, I went to Richmond. I played with the Reds.
Richmond, that's right. Yeah.
I played with Richmond, and then back then in 2000, I went back down to Brazil. I went back down and I played in Rio.
Yeah, I heard. I remember that you went back down there, and Jackie Nero went back down there. I don't remember what year she did, but she went back there, and they were all mad at me because
I went down there, and me and Muriel Page came down. She got
Muriel Page, yeah.
A little taste. So
they all wanted me to come back. I was already in Spain though. You know, they wanted me to come back and play and stuff, and I was already in the stick.
Sorocaba loves you. Sorocaba loves you. You could have.
Oh my God, I love Sorocaba.
See that team go, and you know, it's just, you know, overseas. That's that thing. You know, one year you could play for a sponsor, and then the sponsor pulls out, and then you go play for another team. But you know, expect your team stays together. So it's all of those things. You know, you kind of, you know, that domino effect that happens right here in the United States as well. You know,
right.
We have to talk about.
Yes.
You know, the nomination. I gotta, you know, all of the stuff we got put. Yeah, I love talking about the overseas and everything like that. But you know, I was really, you know, sometimes things happen to certain people, and you feel like it's happening to you, and you're one of those people. When I saw that, I saw your name. I just I started crying, man. I was just like, oh my God, thank you so much for recognizing her. You know, because you put in work, Kat, and you know, you deserve every single bit of that Hall of Fame nomination that you got for your blood, sweat, and tears, and paving the way for all of those girls to have a dream in Spain. They don't know what you did to open up doors for them over there and be there for all of this time and developing a Division II league and, you know, playing on the Olympic team and contributing and the things that you did for the state of Illinois before the ABL had the Chicago Condors and before the WNBA had the Sky. You were making your mark. We played in Chicago together, and we're gonna get on that. We're gonna elaborate on that. I felt when they won the championship, I was so happy for them because we laid, me, you, and Yolanda Griffith, we laid the foundation prior to that. So we're gonna get back to that. But let's elaborate on the Hall of Fame nomination.
Okay.
Where were you? What happened? Like you were like,
So actually, I was just getting ready for a game. Okay, I coached the boys this year at the San Boswell Academy, and the high school. It's a high school, so I had my high school boys, and I'm getting ready for the game, and I'm in my office with the assistant coach talking about game, you know, like strategy stuff like that. And I get a message on my phone, a bling. I look down, and it was from Coach Jill Hutchinson at Illinois State, and so she said, "Make sure you watch the game." I forget who was playing, and make sure you pay attention at halftime. That's all she said, and I'm like, huh? And I was like, okay. She was like, hope you're fine and this and that, but make sure you watch this game. And so the game, I had my game, and I couldn't actually watch the game, the girls' game that it was announced in at halftime. And so when my boys finished the game, I was like, I went back to my message, and I said, hey, what was it? What happened? She was like, well, you were announced during the halftime as one of the 12 nominees for the Hall of Fame. I went, I said, what? I sent her a message back. I said, what, the Hall of Fame, what? She was like, yeah, you were one of the 12 nominees. And I was like, oh my God. I said, I was like, really? I just sat there for a minute, and I was just like, you know what? That's amazing. God is good. I said, this is the best surprise ever. She said, you have a really good chance, so, you know, keep your faith up. And I said, I will. And I looked at the other nominees, and I saw Coach Bruno was there, and just fantastic group to be nominated. And I'm just very happy at who was, you know, I just missed it because they called me like the night before, and they said, no, we don't want you to, you know, hear it on the TV. I'm like, it's okay. I'm a big girl. I've got big pants on, you know. And I said, but I said, I'm very thankful to be, you know, just in the group. And, you know, that means that you're going to still be in the nomination. I was like, oh, I hope so. Well, thank you. And it was just a blessing. It really was. It was a surprise. And I told my mom and dad, and everybody was just really, really excited. And everyone was like, you're so deserving, you know, you're so deserving. And I said, well, thank you so much. But a lot of people were like, but they don't know what you got to tell people what you've been doing overseas. They don't know what your life was like and what you were doing. I'm like, you know, maybe you're right. People don't know that I helped start a sports program in English at schools, a couple of them that I helped with, volunteered with the battered women's shelter. That I a lot of that stuff isn't really on my resume, but if you sit down and talk to me, you'll see who I am and what I've been doing over these years. So it was a blessing. It really was.
Absolutely, and kudos to you for that. And I want to say kudos to the people who knew enough to vote you in. And
thank you.
I mean, because you're in there, getting in there with names like Penny Taylor from
Penny,
with in Phoenix, and
Becky Hammond,
and Jones, and
Alicia
Hammond, and Coach Stanley is going in. Paul Sanderford. And Paul Sanderford has been around for so long. I remember, him at Western Kentucky University. So, you going in with, this is a good group of people. And so, I'm happy, definitely. And then I got to be happy double time because you and Coach Stanley were nominated for this.
Of course.
And we're listening to WNBA State of Mind. I got my girl Cathy Boswell on here. She's a WNBA, a women's basketball Hall of Fame finalist, and I'm just glad to have you on the show and get to catch up and see your face via video. And I told you we want to get back to this question, elaborate on this a little bit. In ABL, we played in Chicago. All right, we were the Chicago Condors.
Yeah.
How did you feel about Chicago winning the WNBA championship? Because I know I was elated. I felt like, gosh, man, that city deserved a championship. Chicago has been in the long haul with women's basketball for such a long time.
Yes.
With always being in the mix with anybody who came to them with an idea for a women's pro basketball league.
Yes.
WNBA, the ABL, the WBL, like they always they pioneered for such a long time, even when they was playing basketball back in the 20s and the 30s.
Yeah. Well, they had the when the WBL came out, they had the Chicago Hustle.
Yeah.
And that was my team right there, the Hustle. I was like, that's the name we should have brought up again. We should have been like the Chicago Hustle, man, because they're kind of like got the
Machine Gun Molly.
Huh? That's right, Machine Gun. Yeah, and one of my alumni friends that played at Illinois State University, Bonnie Tomich, man, she was a star, man. She was point guard, Bonnie Tomich. Yeah. And I remember playing when I was a kid, pickup games with her and Charlotte Lewis. God rest your soul.
Wow.
And, in the gym, in the small gym, and boy, my eyes were lit. I was like, ooh. So they're the ones who laid the foundation, and to be able to come back and play years later with the Chicago Condors, I really, really enjoyed the concept of the ABL, and it's just heartbreaking what happened, But hey, Chicago was in love with some Condors. I'm gonna tell you what, and we just barely got it going when things, came
I know, and I enjoyed it so much, and I enjoyed playing with you and
yes,
Londa.
It was so much fun.
Man,
we were the two power forwards on the wings. Man, we was just oof. It was amazing.
We started to click. We had Jim Clemens as our coach.
Yep, Jim Clemens. Yeah, we were running that triangle
against the Bulls like every 2 days. Remember that? Like we were like in a dream state. Like I can't tell you. Like I couldn't tell people. I was practicing against the Bulls, and we was busting them up. We was busting them up. They had to call a timeout. Remember we made them call a timeout, and it was like, yo, we're gonna have to start playing against.
We're gonna have to start playing because Yo-Yo was killing them.
So it's like, oh, you're gonna dunk. All right, it's all good. We still gonna, we still balling with y'all, but they got smoked a little bit too. They got their lesson. Like we ain't out here playing around. And he was like, I remember a couple of players looking at Jim, Coach Clemens, and saying, yo, they running the triangle better than we.
Run the triangle. That's right. We ran that, dude.
Yeah, that's a tough offense. Anybody who
and just like what you said.
And it's definitely that that offense is for the 2, the 3, and the 4.
Amen.
Everybody else, you gotta establish a role. What you doing?
That's it.
Are you spotting up or you going to get the rebound? Because
That's right.
the 3 and the 4 were the ones that was in the mix with that offense. That's why us 3, you are in your
triangle right there.
We were a problem. We were a problem.
And like what you said, we started to gel and we started to get that, and we knew where each other was going, and then that's what happened. But it's just
it's
God's
it's an awesome memory, something that we'll always have. And I enjoyed playing over at UIC.
UIC, they hooked it up for us, the court and everything, in the locker rooms. They had it laid out for us.
Yeah, nice.
Hats off for them for trying to give us the best experience ever.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is gonna open up. Okay, where's Cathy? How can people get in touch with you as we wind the show down? How do people get in touch with you? You on social media? Which social media handles are you on? And also give us, if there's anything exciting, anything new that we can look forward to seeing from you.
Well, as far as social media goes, when I was at Illinois State University, I kind of had to have it all, Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff. And so it's I kind of have dormant accounts there. I really don't get on them too much. But with Facebook, I'm old school. And email me, if anybody wants to get in touch with me, and or just call me. I'm like, I'll pick up the phone in a minute, So right now I'm living in the San Diego area. I live in a town called Escondido. So I'm which means hid. And it's a little town, not a little, it's a pretty nice sized town, about 25 minutes from San Diego, about 25 minutes from the beach too. Oceanside is probably the closest one, or Moonlight Beach. You'll find me there a lot, or I do a lot of volunteer work. I volunteered with the refugee children this year, the ones coming across the border. But my actual job is I am a house parent for foster children. And I am at an academy where they're all fostered in this academy area where we have siblings also. And they have a football team, a basketball team, functions like a regular school, high school. And so that's why I mentioned before that I was a high school boys basketball coach this year. So they know I'm tough on them too. They're like, dang, coach. I'm like, that's right. You running.
And we gotta teach our boys, man. And a lot of times I felt like I'm like, listen, Lord, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna teach these boys how to be men? A lot of these kids are absent from having male figures in their lives, and the last thing that we could ever teach a man is how to be a man. So that was the battle that I had to deal with trying to get them to understand that, coming from a female's perspective, this is what you have to think, but you still have to govern yourself as a man.
That's right.
And
that's true.
Absolutely. And just teaching them the basic manners that they're not learning. I'm not
right.
opening the door for you. We go to a door, I'm standing there, and he's like, I know I'm not opening the door for you. You know? And it's just little simple things that that they just don't get when they don't have a male figure in their lives. And so kudos to you for being there for those young boys, foster parenting them, coaching them, and teaching them the way, because it had not been for you.
Yeah, it's just like what you said. You had to figure out a game plan. Like, my assistant coach was male, but, most of them are used to having a strong, positive female image in their life. Like, they've had a lot of strong women in their life that have, or like their mothers or whatever, that a lot of them had bad experiences because of the negativity. So, I'm a strong Black woman who is going to take you on the positive road all the way. I'm going to build you up. I'm going to set you up for success. That's what I'm going to do. And it's the little things. It's the little things that I'm going to teach you. They're going to help you to become a young man. And the assistant coach here standing by my side, we're going to help you get there. So basically that I found that way, and had a great fun time with them. We didn't play that many games because of COVID and carrying on, but we did end up with a 50-50 season. We were 4-4. All we played were 8 games, and I said amen for those 8 games. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to end on that. Those are the valuable lessons that they learned within those 8 games that they played that they wouldn't have gotten anywhere else. Okay, because you know, basketball and any type of sport is the best environment for a kid to be in, to learn about the world, how to function, how to act, and how to be in a diversified environment and understand different cultures. It's culture building, it's character building, so many different things. And I'm so grateful to have you on here. Shout out to my new sponsor, Bayonne Mart, a one-stop shop to get all your snacks and Delta 8 products. Thanks for listening to the WNBA State of Mind. Stay tuned for the next show. Cathy, you know I love you. Sammy Sosa, peace, we out.
Peace, we out. Love you, Goody. Take care.
Yeah, hang on.